So I want to talk to you about something. So my mom is a very strong woman. She was born in 45, so she was really active in the feminist movement. And she met my dad in college. They were young, 20. I think they were 21 when they got married. And he was absolutely not liberal in any way. He was very Republican. And my mom was the complete opposite. They wound up getting married and had 3 kids. My brother is 10 years older than me. My sister's 8 years older than me. By the time I came around, I think the problems had started. When I was 13, my dad left my mom after 24 years of marriage, threw her into a deep depression. I used to come home afraid that I'd find her dead. But she pulled herself up out of that, and she got herself her teaching degree reinstated, and she started working as a teacher, and she did that for the next 20 years. They used to fight all the time. I didn't really know about what, and then I was only 13 when they separated, so I never really witnessed them fighting as an adult. I do know that she pretty much destroyed every holiday we had for 10 years after the divorce with drama, but she was sad. After 24 years, he leaves her. She thought they'd be together forever. They were actually going to therapy when he did this. He got department behind her back and everything. It was bad. Well, fast forward, they're in their 70s, and he had moved out of the state. He had another wife at one point. He moved back. Had always been in his kids' lives. He moved back, and they weren't friends at first, but over time, especially with grandkids being born, they became very close. And in their 70s, they started to date. They fell back in love, and they weren't going to get married. They weren't going to give up each other's homes because they were set in their ways, but they fell back in love. And they mentioned that a lot of what they divorced over were misunderstandings. I thought, wow, that's great. It's a good message to send your grandkids, to send people. Really, communication is key. But my dad, I love him to death, but he is his way. Everything is black and white. There is no gray area, and he doesn't conceptualize anything that's unusually emotional. I can't tell him I don't want to talk to my sister because her oldest daughter was one of the reasons I lost my son, and I have emotions about that. He goes, what are you talking about? What emotions? It's your sister. He just doesn't, you can't, it's almost like he's smart, but it's almost like he's slow in that area. He's not, but it's just a very weird situation. You can't talk to him about things being more than what they are on the surface. My mom is very opinionated, very outspoken, very into, let's talk about our emotions, whatever have you. They stayed together for a long time, I think, because he had the control over the relationship. And he left because he lost that control or felt he couldn't maintain it, I believe. I didn't get to see them together as an adult, but obviously there were issues. I remember a lot of fighting when I was younger. My mom is not a cognitive empath like I am, but she's definitely attuned to people's feelings. And my dad is the opposite. I remember her talking to me about his control, how controlling he was. I remember when I was little, the house having to be a very particular way. He was very controlling, he was very... But when they were older, in their 70s, they fell back in love. I think she didn't care about that anymore because she had her own house, she had her own life. They could date, and she could enjoy him for the parts that they did love each other for. And she could go home, and it worked. Well, 2 years ago, my mom had a debilitating stroke, and I called her from Portland. She's in LA where my family is. She was supposed to be picking my daughter up from the airport. She never made it. I called her. By the grace of God, she had enough strength to pick up the phone, and I just heard mumbling, and I knew what happened. We knew that the stroke was a possibility. She had had him before, but no damage at all, really. Long story short, she'll never be the same. She can't drive. She's lost. She was a very intelligent woman, and she's kind of like a kid. Not really, kind of like young teenager, I guess. But whenever I go to visit her, and she can't fully articulate, she can't really talk that well. She mixes up words. We call them stroke words. She'll think she's saying something right, but she's not. It's very, I can only imagine how hard it is. But my dad said that it's his job to take care of her, and he's taking care of her, and I bless him for that. But whenever I go there, she'll cry to me and say that she's trapped. She's trapped, and she's gonna have to be with this man for the rest of her life, and there's nothing she can do about it. She can't really articulate complaints, so the controlling, domineering, we're gonna have it my way or no way. My father, her ex-husband, is the back, but she can't do anything about it. However, I'm not saying he's taking care of her. He's amending the rest of his entire life to take care of her, and he does it with good intentions. He loves her, but they never clicked on a core level, ever. They're too different. She never learned to set boundaries. She never learned to love herself, to maybe she isn't about that, I don't know. She never learned to realize that if you have to stop worrying about other people, and you have to sit with yourself, and you have to love yourself, and you have to figure out what you want and what you need. And then you need to set boundaries, because without that, people around you will be invasive for the rest of your life. Whatever the situation may be, you will be in situations where you feel sad or angry or whatever because you don't feel like you have control, because you didn't set boundaries. My mom is essentially trapped for the rest of her life, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't afford to move home right now. My kids are situated here. I'm going through a custody thing. Like, my older sister is just like, let's just say that she is the opposite of an empath. She understands the situation, but see, if I was there, I would say, fuck this. I would have someone coming in once a week to handle her mental health and to get her out of her head. And I would try to maybe even get her in a home that was really awesome, or if she wanted. But at least get someone there once a week to talk to her, to let her bitch, whether she says it right or not, to let her get it out of her system, to let her get out of her head, to let her fucking have a life of her own. Because right now, she's gonna live the rest of her life, every second, every minute, every hour, every day, with that man controlling her. And she can't do a thing about it. Imagine how that feels. And it's not his fault. He's not a bad person. But no boundaries were ever established. It's the craziest thing. His intentions are great, and yet she's in a situation that feels horrible, unbearable. To think of being in a situation like that. You would think that if someone's in a situation like that, if someone's situation's provoking feelings of, oh my God, that's awful, you would think that the second part of that situation would be a bad person. But he's not. And he literally changed his entire life to take care of her for the rest of their lives. Boundaries help not only yourself, they help the people around you. They create an environment where you can be loved and you can love back without anger and regret and despair and just unknowing. Without boundaries, we go through life not knowing why the fuck we feel the way we do and what's happening. I lost so many years. I have kids and they're all amazing. And so I have no regrets in that way. But they did not get the whole me. They're older now. I'm 47. I'm going through all this individuation now so that I can be my whole true self. And they'll get that now for the rest of their lives. And I'm super grateful for that. But I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders and said, look into the boundary thing a little bit more, because we know people say it all the time, but it's way more intense and way more important and way more fucking pivotal to your happiness than you can ever know. So if you don't get it, if you're not feeling tingly about the boundaries from my video, watch someone else's until it hits you, until you understand what we actually mean by this. You got to keep going, because without proper boundaries, you will never be happy. It's not possible. I love you guys. Thanks for listening.